really, I mean, flat out, I got to a point where I only had about $20 in my account, and losing properties, foreclosure, multiple foreclosures, short sales. I was in a really, really bad spot financially. And I always knew, I said, you know what? I lost all this stuff, but I'm going to get it back tenfold. I went through a lot of personal development.
Sure.
I just had a goal. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to make this about me. I think too many people quit. They have their dreams, and then it gets a little tough and they quit. Yeah. During the mortgage meltdown, I saw so many people, 90+% of the people that I was in the industry with, gone. It's the having a no-quit attitude.
Yeah.
It's just going after your dreams.
100%. Yeah, tenaciously. You know, it's a really good point. I think there's a lot of people that, from the outside, like you mentioned, from the outside, they look like things are fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
But on the inside, when you're inside their brain, when you're inside their pocketbook, when you're inside their family, their home life, it's not so great. So let's take a step backwards, because then I do want to talk about how you recovered from that. I had read that you bought your first house when you were 23. Tell me exactly how you buy your first home at age 23.
In life, there's a blueprint for everything. There's no need to start over. Hear from industry leaders, those at the top of their fitness journey, and real estate gurus. They tell you exactly how they did it. All you have to do is listen, learn, and execute. This is The Blueprint with Brad Rice.
All right, y'all, we're back for another edition of The Blueprint. And today I got a local legend here, and he's not going to admit he is, but let me tell you how this happened before I make the introduction. So my wife, you know, you guys all have this, right? Somebody will share, you know, a clip with you on Instagram or on TikTok, and then, you know, you get it, and when you get a chance, you click on it and you look at it. Well, I'd gotten a couple of them from this guy who I'm going to introduce here in a minute, because he brings local news to Simi Valley. So she's, you know, he got in her feed, and she's like, oh, look what's happening up at the mall. Look what's happening at this. And it turns out to be my guest today, Alex Ramirez. And we were just talking off camera, which we'll bring up again, that he happened to know me from decades ago. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but let's talk about Alex for a minute. So he's a third-generation entrepreneur and a local mortgage expert with over 20 years of lending experience. He's the co-owner of a company called Valor Home Finance, located right around the corner from us here in Simi. And his brokerage specializes in helping veterans, first responders, first-time buyers. So Alex is somewhat of a local celebrity, as I mentioned, in the hometown here in Simi Valley. His social media has recently blown up. He's got a lot of following now, and people are talking about him locally, which is why he's here today. And he's built a strong social following, but he also shares that and hosts events with others in the real estate industry to help them grow their socials. So he's got a lot of experience on that, and it's very relevant today. As if that wasn't enough, he's also the co-founder of Vets and Valor.
Yeah.
Okay, and which is a 501c3 nonprofit that connects veterans with life-changing resources. So welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Brad.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, right on, man.
Great finally meeting you.
Yeah. So let's go. Let's talk about that for a minute, because, you know, this is my first time meeting you in person.
Yeah,
at least
same.
as far as I know.
Yeah,
okay.
same.
And you said, yeah, I saw your name in my DMs, and you recognized my name from a couple decades ago, because you said that you used to be one of our broker clients when I had a wholesale company called Zone Funding.
Zone Funding, yeah. When I saw your name, I remembered it. Just, I mean, you're talking, this is 2005, 6, right around there. And we used to send transactions over to you guys, and we were literally next door. Our office was on Valley Fair, right next door.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
so you were in the 3-story building?
The 3-story building,
okay.
Yeah,
I almost bought that building, too.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I made an offer on it, and I didn't get it. But, yeah, I had the building next door. That's right. Man, that is crazy memories. You know, back in the day, you know, subprime mortgages were the thing. Now we have something called non-QM, which I would say is kind of the cousin of subprime. The biggest difference there is, even though we're doing these non-QM mortgages that do get loans in the hands of people that fall outside the general box of qualifying, there's still other qualifying factors. Where back then the subprime was really like, you're breathing? Okay, here, take this loan. And I exaggerate a little bit, but it really was.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, it really was. There was a lot of blank applications, the NINA, no income, no assets,
Yep.
Things of that nature. And so we specialized at the time in, kind of hard money for wholesale.
Yeah.
And so we were one of the first. There were only 3 companies that were doing it nationwide, but we happened to have very low cost funding for it, so we could deliver a low rate and do essentially private
That's why
money
we use
loans.
you guys. I mean, there was deals that we couldn't get done anywhere else.
Yep.
And Zone Funding opened up next door to us.
Yeah.
So, we checked it out and we would send deals to you guys
Unbelievable.
to get them done. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, end of 2007 or beginning of 2007, it really was, and into 2008 and 9, it was the big mortgage crash. And so, how did you make it through that?
It was really tough. I mean, I've mentioned it on my social media before. That time was one of the most challenging times in my life. I mean, I got in the business, I was like 23, 24 years old. I was a young kid. A lot of people in the industry that got in real young, and you're making more money than you should be making.
Right.
And I made a good amount of money, bought real estate, spend money, but I saved money. And when the market crashed, I had probably about 16 to 18 months of reserves saved. I'm like, okay.
Which is better than most.
Oh, yeah.
For
So
sure.
I had some stuff. Some properties I had, sold off some things, and then I had money saved. So when the market started turning, I noticed something. So we started reducing the size of our office, less loan officers, so just a few of us. And the market crashed. And then at the same time the market crashed, I had some rental properties. So my tenants decided to stop paying rent too.
Yeah.
So then you have your own mortgage. I had my own mortgage, and then also paying other mortgages too to keep everything afloat. And as I was going, it was really only probably like a year and a half of like where the market was really tough, and it came back. But during that time, you had paying these mortgages, and then on top of that, there was some lawsuits that I had to take care of. So I had to pay a ton of attorney fees. My brother and we had to pay a ton of attorney fees. I ended up winning those. They're bogus, but still you have to protect yourself.
Still cost you money.
You got to get some great attorneys. Luckily, I have some good friends that connected me with the right people, but that was a big bill to flip. And flat out, I got to a point where I only had about $20 in my account, and losing properties, foreclosure, multiple foreclosures, short sales. I was in a really, really bad spot financially.
Yeah.
And I barely made it. I never asked my family for money, but one day I just told my dad the situation I was in, and not asking him for money. And he said, what's your car payment or what's your bills like? I'm like, yeah, $700 would get me past this next month. I mean, really that much.
Wow.
Really nothing.
Yeah.
Well, just to kind of help. I was trying to float all these other credit cards and all this kind of stuff.
Sure.
And he let me borrow the money, and he's like, we're family. I'll help you. We all help each other. We'll always have each other's back. And later on, I realized my dad wasn't in the best financial situation at that time.
Yeah.
He was much better later on, but that's kind of what got me through. It was a really tough time. I was trying to get, do some real estate. I did a couple of real estate transactions just to kind of keep things afloat. I only do loans, but at that time, whatever I can get.
Yeah, whatever you could get. You could
doing
sell.
some loans, doing some real estate transactions to keep afloat. And yeah, that was a really, really tough time during my life. And it was about a year and a half of I went from, all right, I'm going to be okay, to just complete struggle.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I had people on the outside, friends, other family members, they go, oh man, everything's going so great for you. But I'm looking at my account, I'm like, I'm almost negative here.
Yeah.
I'm almost negative here. But that's, how I got through. I got through it. It wasn't easy. During that time, I had to pick up a job. So I was like, how am I going to make this, make ends meet? So I picked up a job working at a credit union. And at the time, I remember I was going to go in for the interview. I'm like, whoa, this job was like way below me. That's kind of like how I was thinking. That it was way below me, right? Coming from making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And then before I was going into this job interview, I called my dad. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm a quitter if I do this. He's like, no, just go test it out, practice, see if you still got it. Talk to him. Went in, interviewed. They hired me. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'll be here for a year and I'll be back to the regular game, right? It's crazy because I actually met my wife there.
Oh,
I met my wife
that.
there. Yeah.
Serendipitous.
Oh yeah. So everything happened. There's all this struggle, financial, and pushback with getting this job. I just for a year I made it work, and I met her there, but it wasn't a time where we were we didn't talk. We met each other there.
Okay.
It wasn't until about a year and a half later we started dating.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, so I met my wife there. Then, I mean, that's how I barely got out of all this stuff, but I made it out.
Yeah.
And I always knew, I said, you know what? I lost all this stuff, but I'm going to get it back tenfold. And I went through a lot of personal development.
Sure.
Coaches and all that.
Yep.
And, you know, I just had a goal. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to make this about me, about trying to make all this money and just make it 100% about me. I want to help as many people as I can.
Smart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I made it about all the people I'm helping.
Yep.
You know,
Look, I'll tell you what, that is really the untold story. And it doesn't matter if it's the mortgage meltdown, which we're of course familiar with, or it's, you know, whatever industry you're in that goes into a downturn. And frankly, we're experiencing that for the last 3 years in the mortgage business too. But it's how you come out of it. It's what you do through the struggle and how it changes you and come out of it. So it sounds like you really did a good job of focusing on different things, and it was a really horrible period of time in your life. It was stressful, all those things. What do you think the number one trait is that you learned through the downfall of the mortgage meltdown that made you stronger coming out?
Wow. So number one trait, trying to think of what really got me through is, I mean, the biggest thing is just the mindset shift into going to, I mean, I'm pretty competitive. But I think the number one thing is just the no quit. Like I realize I'm like, you know, there's no quit in me. That's the number one thing for me. And I've learned this from my dad being a successful business owner, and it's just not quitting, not giving up, and just going after my dreams. I think too many people quit. They have their dreams, and then it gets a little tough, and they quit. Yeah. During the mortgage meltdown, I saw so many people, 90+% of the people that I was in the industry with, gone. And that's fine. Hey, they picked up other careers, and I'm not gonna talk bad about them. I mean, it's tough. Yeah. But it's the having a no quit attitude. Yeah. It's just going after your dreams. 100%.
Yeah, tenaciously. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a really good point. I think there's a lot of people that from the outside, like you mentioned, from the outside they look like things are fantastic. Oh yeah. But on the inside, when you're inside their brain, when you're inside their pocketbook, when you're inside their family, their home life, it's not so great. Oh, yeah. And so I think that we, especially today more than ever before, because of social media, because of everybody flexing and everybody showing like how great they are, we know, even though you know in the back of your head, most of that's just fake. It still influences the way people think, and especially if you're youth, right? And you're seeing this stuff, and maybe your friends, you feel like they're further ahead in life. You feel like, oh, my friends are getting married, or my friends are having kids, and I'm not yet, or I don't have a real career yet. And you're measuring yourself up to them, and you're seeing all the social media stuff. It gets really tough. So that mental fortitude that you gained through the downtime, I think, is significant. And that's why I asked you about it, like what's the number one trait? So it really is that mental fortitude. It's the ability to, you know, believe in yourself, to come out of it. You know, I think we got to reinforce that. It's incumbent upon us as, you know, kind of older people that have gone through it. I'm much older than you, but to do that for the youth, for your kids, for their friends, for the other people that are out there, and you know, to that token, for the people that are following you on social media, right? So being real and kind of expressing that, I think, is really important. There was a time recently where I went through some kind of major changes here in my office. Lost a lot of people, lost some management, and then it uncovered all the things that were broken in the company. I had to go and dig back in again, things that I hadn't done in you know, a decade and a half. I had to go back and say, okay, man, I know how to do this. It's up to me now. And those are the stories that people don't like to tell, because they are true, they are real, and you know, they hurt to talk about. So let's take a step backwards, because then I do want to talk about how you recovered from that. So I had read that you bought your first house when you were 23. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So tell me exactly how you buy your first home at age 23.
My advice for someone selling their home: number 1, do it yourself and save. Number 2, use HomePie.
HomePie makes it easy to buy or sell without an agent. I can list a home in minutes and start receiving offers right away from buyers.
When we discovered that we didn't have to lose $40,000 in agent commission just to upsize to a larger home, it was an obvious choice.
List your home for free at homepie.com. Keep your piece of the pie.
So I bought it with my brother, and just saved money. So I was growing up. My dad's he owns staffing companies. Had it for 30 some odd years. So entrepreneur. My grandfather owned a landscaping construction company. So all this, being business owners has just been in my family tree. But I have family. My parents have always bought and sold real estate. Not a crazy amount, but they would buy, hold, rent.
Okay.
But I have an uncle of mine, very successful, and he owns quite a bit of real estate, apartments. And so when I was a young kid, when we were young kids, and we'd go sleep over at my cousin's house, we'd be doing work with them. He owns a construction company, so he'd pay us to do some work, and he would tell us, he'd say, whatever you do, save your money and buy real estate as soon as you can.
Okay.
He said, buy real estate as soon as you can. So it just stuck in my head when I was a kid, like 12 years old. I'm like, I want to buy real estate.
What a great impression.
Yeah, so that was just always in my head. I want to buy real estate. This is how it's going to help me grow, become successful. I have never had any intentions to work in the industry like a loan officer or realtor. It just kind of happened. But that's how, I saved my money. My brother saved his money, and we put a plan together. Hey, let's buy our first property. And we bought, this is when it was a brand new houses popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
So we purchased our first property. So
what year was this?
I'm sorry?
What year was this?
This was 2000. There would have been 2000, maybe 5.
Okay.
Yeah, 2000. No, it would have been 2004, I believe. 2004.
So before you got in the mortgage business, just before?
It was actually right before I got into the mortgage business.
Okay.
We got on contract, then I got into the mortgage business.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So long ago. It's trying to think about the time.
So,
wow.
So you had a job.
Yeah.
What were you doing at the time?
I was a personal banker at a big bank locally here, and also owned a business. My brother and I owned a skate shop in Northridge.
Oh,
yeah. So
what was the name of that?
It's called Empire Skate.
Over on Devonshire.
Yeah,
owns Devonshire.
Yeah,
and
it
Wilbur?
was on Corbin and Plummer. So the skate park was right behind the mall, and we were right there on Corbin and Plummer.
Oh, down there. Okay.
Yeah,
because I grew up in Chatsworth. There was another one on Devonshire.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know which one.
By Wilbur.
I can't remember the name.
I can't remember the
I know what you're
names
talking
of the
about. We
streets
all
now.
know each other. We all know each other because it's all in that industry.
Yeah.
But we were in that industry, so we had that skate shop. We had it for a few years, and then we sold it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's how we had our business, and we bought our first property. That was
okay.
how we
So
got
you
started.
had income you could prove at the time, or did you do like a stated income?
At the time, it was a stated income.
Okay,
at the time it was stated income. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we had assets, but at the time it was a stated income program.
So you saved enough money for a down payment.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I just want kind of people to understand then versus now. You're 23. Yeah. You and your brother buy together, which is a great strategy. I talk about this all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find a friend or a family member to buy with. So you buy together, and you had how much for a down payment?
At that time, we went 100% financing.
It was 100% financing.
We went 100% financing. One thing is during that time also, and it's kind of now too, when we got into contract to buy this brand new house, by the time it was completed 6 months later, these houses
worth more.
They're already worth more. But yeah, we went 100% financing. We had assets to prove.
Okay.
But yeah, that's how we were able to buy the property.
Okay, fair enough. But that was how you did it. That was how
yeah.
you mapped it out. So it was 100% financing. You bought it 2005 before the crash. Did you keep that property through the crash?
I kept it almost through the crash, and that was one of the properties that we had tenants in there probably the last year or so.
Okay.
And that was one of the properties I actually lost
because they stopped making payments and you just couldn't
afford
it.
We were making the payments, and then we couldn't just we just got drained.
Common story.
Yeah,
super common.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any other properties after that one?
Yeah, we had a couple more. Yeah. So
did you live in one that you?
I lived in. Yeah, there's 2 other ones. I had one here in Simi Valley. It was a well-known property, very beautiful house.
Okay.
I ended up selling it right before the crash, and then I had another one. Had tenants here right down the street off of Erringer. I had tenants there, but then after I sold the house I was living in, it was my dream house.
Yep.
I ended up moving into that property right off of Erringer. Yeah.
So what's this well-known property? Where is that?
It's actually it's right on Yardley and Township. It's
Okay.
a corner house. It's a gray stone property. Anytime I tell people about it, it's on
I'm trying to picture. I know township. I'm trying to picture which
Yardley. There's probably like 8 custom houses on the street.
So it's just south of township. There's a street that's kind of like almost like a private street.
Yeah, it's probably 8 or 9 custom houses there.
Okay, I think I know
and
what
it was
you're talking
anytime
about.
I mentioned people, hey, this is the house I lived in,
Yeah.
and people would come over,
Okay.
Yeah, that was a funny story that was a cool story actually getting the house.
Yeah. So tell us how you got that house.
So this is one of these things like visualizing things. My mom got me really into Tony Robbins when I was a little kid.
Okay.
And so I when I was 17, I was just driving around with my cousin, and we were just bored driving around town, looking at these houses, things like dreaming of things, right?
Sure.
And hey, one day I want to buy this. So I see this house on the corner, and it was just a beautiful house. It wasn't for sale. I was like, wow, this is my dream house. And I saw some gardeners working there, and I speak Spanish, so I asked them in Spanish, hey, would you guys let me in, check out the backyard? They're like, oh yeah, go ahead. Pretty sure the owners wouldn't be cool with that.
Right.
But anyways, they let me look at the backyard. I was like, wow, this is amazing. My cousin was like 10 years old at the time. And I'm like, I'm going to buy this house one day. And then we get home, tell my mom about it. And then my cousin was like, hey, Alex again, he said he wants to buy this house. And Mom's like, I want to see it. I just want to see it just so you could think about it. This way you have, I could push you to get something like that. So I drive by it, show her. She's like, yeah, you'll get the house one day.
Huh.
Fast forward to, I think, like 2006. I call my cousin. I just call him, hey, guess what house I'm closing escrow on today?
Shut up.
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
like, no way. I didn't even tell him anything else. I'm like, come over. He goes straight to the house.
So what happened?
Yeah.
Did you see a for sale sign come up and then you just
Yeah.
called on it? Okay, so
Yeah,
you
it
just
was
drove by it all the time. And you're
Yeah,
like,
it was a for sale sign, and coincidentally, the person that lived there, so it was a friend of mine. It was his parents owned the house, and there was a sign. I was like, hey, like this, I didn't know you lived here. I see the sign. I'm like, this is the house I want to buy.
wow.
Yeah, and I did it. I mean, I ended up owning it for about a year.
Yeah.
But I saw what was going on in the market,
And you had
I
equity
sold it
at that time.
just in time,
Yeah.
in time.
Well, at least you did that.
Yeah, so that was a cool story with that.
Yeah, that's
that
very
was
cool.
like that was my dream house, and sold it just in time because I'm trying to making sure everything was balanced out.
All right, so to
Yeah.
recap, you bought your first home. You and your brother did it together, made you more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
You bought the second home, which was your dream home that you manifested. Your mom helped you manifest.
Yeah.
And then you bought the one on IRRRL, which you ultimately wound up moving into after you sold the other one.
Yeah, that one, and there was some other properties that bought and sold too, kind of
Okay.
scattered around through
Sure.
different counties. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And do you still have the one on IRRRL?
No, I sold that one.
That
one
one,
I
okay.
sold that a few years back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about your kind of your journey into real estate investing then. How many properties do you own now?
Right now, including my primary home, is 4 properties.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 properties.
Are they
Yeah.
all in Simi Valley?
So I own land in Kern County,
Okay.
next to the Kern River.
Oh.
So I own that with a friend. Even now, we bought a property together because we want to build a house there,
Okay.
vacation. So
Nice.
that one, I own my primary home, and then I have 2 other rentals. Two
Okay.
other rentals
In
total.
Simi?
The 2 rentals are here. One is in here in Simi, and then the other one is in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the reason I ask that is that it's not easy to buy rental property today.
Yeah.
In Southern California. And I can't even tell you how many times I've written offers and I get blown out of the water by and I don't care. It's in the current market. People don't believe that. They think the market is tanked and interest rates are high and all that. That's not true. If it's a house, whether it be a really good house, like if it's a really good house and it shows well and all that, boom, they go, there's multiple offers. Or the other end of the spectrum, it's a house that needs a ton of work.
Yeah.
There's so many investors out there. It's like it's hard to
There's
compete.
a ton.
I
Yeah.
just wrote an offer on one last week. This is pre-listing because the agent knew that I invested, reached out to me, and I went and I looked at it, walked it, saw all the work it needed to get done. I did the numbers, and then I pushed the numbers. I knew I really should be in it at $550 because I needed everything. I said, I'm probably not going to get it for that. I kind of got an impression of what they needed. So I offered $575. Well, guess what? Somebody bought it for $600. So it's like, and I'm looking at it and going, could I have done that? Maybe, but then would that have been smart? But that's what's happened many, many times. So, it is tough. So having just even that number of properties today is really great. So kudos to you on that. So from being a kid, kind of in this surf and skate shop era, to going into mortgages, tell me about that transition. You were buying your first house with your brother. Mm-hmm. Is that when you kind of learned about mortgages and decided you wanted to be in the business?
Yeah. So when I was a banker, what happened was there was somebody. She was like the top banker in the area, very well known in the community. She built that this banking institution on the corner right there, Sycamore and was in Cochrane, and what happened was she actually got ill, so she was on a leave of absence for a few months, and I was kind of assisting her on her. This is when equity lines were really big. Everyone was doing equity lines. I mean, this was a stated income, stated ask, same thing for equity lines. I mean, you're getting them approved. You need a $500,000 equity line, they're getting approved in a day.
Yep.
So I was helping her with all that. So I was learning some basics of lending through doing equity lines. So she goes on a leave of absence. And they're like, who's going to take over all her client base? And I'm in this maybe a month learning this. And I just said, I think I can take it over. And I really knew just very little.
Sure.
So I took over her book of business, and I did this for several months. And then one day there was a very well-known loan officer. She's actually I think she's in this building. Oh. And she was the loan officer at that branch at the time. And she came up to me one day. She said, hey, you ever thought about becoming a loan officer? And I looked up at her and said, I never really thought about becoming a loan officer, but I'd love to try it.
Yep.
And she's like, yeah, there's a new position coming up. It's called a junior loan officer. Would you be open to that? You'd be working with me. I teach you the business. Mm-hmm. I'm like, sure. And within a few months, I got into the lending industry. But already during that time, I already had my skate shop.
Okay.
So I already had my skate shop during that time, and then I got into the lending industry. So I was already in the process of getting my first house, and I had my skate shop, and then I got into the mortgage industry.
Got it.
Yeah.
But you were saying that you were in escrow with your brother at the time that did you get into the mortgage business during that same process or just subsequent to that?
It was like I'm trying to remember the timing. It was like right around the same time, like right around, because this was when we put our deposit down to get the house. I mean, it was several months before the house was completed. So it was right around the same time I got into the industry. I just got the house.
Got it. Okay. Because, thinking back even when I started, a very similar path as far as buying a house and getting in the mortgage industry. I didn't really know anything about mortgage per se, mm-hmm. but I was buying my first house. My wife and I were buying her parents' house off of them.
Yeah.
They lived in the Texas tract. They were downsizing into a condo and asked us if we wanted to buy it. We were getting married. It's in 1993. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, this is great. It's a house with a pool, great neighborhood, all that stuff. But it needed a ton of work. Like it had been original from 1964. And smokers and all that. Like it needed to be gutted. But I was like, sure. I had already... My dad was in construction and development and architecture and all that. And so I'd always been really handy, and I knew people in the industry, and I'd done other things, small. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I was going through, and the way I got introduced to it was I actually used a mortgage broker when I bought my first house. Mm-hmm. And she was across the table from us. Almost all applications at the time were in person. I mean, like 99.9% of them. And we got to know each other. We went through the process. And I was like, I think I could do this. I was going to college. I was studying finance.
Yeah.
And I was interested in real estate. It was a minor of mine. And I'm like, shoot. So I said, could I spend a day with you? And I did. So a lot of people think about like how do you get into a career? Like, especially kids today, there's like so many different things you can do. You got to find something you're passionate about, number one.
Yeah.
And then investigate it. And when you're young like that, when you're 23, which I was also 23, you should be trying everything. And then if you find that you're good at something and you like it, then move forward on it. So I got my license and, that same year, and I started in the mortgage business. So very similar. And it's mortgage is not easy, especially, it's 100% commission based, right? For the most part.
You have to get used to living off 100% commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you get used to it, then you can balance it, but it takes a little bit to get used to that.
And then there's a ton you don't control, and
Yeah.
it's mostly market related, i.e. the crash, i.e. the last 3 years with high interest rate. We don't have any control over that stuff. So
Yeah.
you've got to be good in all markets. You got to be a really good marketer. And so that is a really nice transition into now you've built this kind of local celebrity. So let's talk about your social kind of growth and how you started your content and how it's evolved. Talk to us about taking kind of that leap into socials, where you concentrated your time, and how you decided whether you went like wide or niche-y.
I'd say if you're considering joining the AmeriFund team, it's a really good idea.
We as processors at AmeriFund Home Loans support the loan officers in every aspect of the loan once it comes into processing because we want them out there marketing themselves and originating more loans and supporting more borrowers.
Competitive commission plans are a given, and powerful technology is expected, but what truly sets us apart is our culture. We've built a solid support system for our loan officers. If you're interested in joining the AmeriFund team, go to amerifund.com/careers.
Yeah. So I started doing, I always knew that social media would be a place to really market. And it was probably around maybe 2018-ish, right around there. I started doing some videos. And when I do my classes and I do these trainings for realtors or anybody, even loan officers, title reps, everyone's welcome to these trainings. And I'll post videos, like my first videos. And they're a bit cringy, but at the time, everyone was like, "Yeah, that's a great video, great job." And at the time, I was like, "Yeah, this is pretty good, right?" But I started doing videos then, just kind of educational, more of kind of market update. Hey, this is going on in the market. I know a lot of people do that now, but I was saying, these are the market updates, or I'd be at an open house and I'd be doing a live. Hey, I'm at this open house. Come by, check it out. And I was really uncomfortable with it, so I would post a couple of videos and then I wouldn't be on social for a while. Then post a couple of videos, wouldn't be on social for a while.
Sure.
But I knew this was a place where I'm like, this is where you can really grow, and the cost of it is zero. It doesn't cost. I'm not paying any ads or anything like that. So I know this is, if you have a phone, you can go viral. You can market yourself, everything with social media. So it was probably, I was trying to get some traction, but I just wasn't consistent because I didn't know enough. And also I was afraid. I had a lot of fear. If I post something, what are people going to say about me?
Self-conscious.
What are they going to think about me? They're going to say things about, what I look like, what I'm saying, if it's right, if it's wrong, a million things, right? Yep. And during COVID, when everyone was at home and sitting on their phone, I come across a person. His name is Neil Dingra. Yeah. Neil's a very well-known person. He's a friend of mine.
I've done a session with him.
That guy, he's amazing. He's helped me a ton. I saw his on my feed. One of his posts came across my feed, and I took a snapshot. I'm like, wow, this is the kind of content I want to do. Right. It's funny because recently I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, this is the first time I started content, and it had the date on it. Oh. Yeah. So
when was that?
It was during COVID, late 20. I think it was early 2021 or late 2020. Okay. But that's when I saw his content, and I'm like, this is the kind of guy I want to follow. So this is before his following was really small. Sure. So we were messaging each other, and he was telling me about what he's doing and the content he's posting and events he's putting together. So then I started kind of seeing what he was doing. And I was posting some content with another partner of mine. He was a realtor partner, and we were posting a lot of funny content, and that some of it went viral. Okay. And went well. We're like, okay, we're educating and also making people laugh. It was working. But then Neil messages me. He said, hey, I'm going to put this program together. It's called, it's going to helping people with their social media. We're going to be doing these bi-weekly classes, and it's going to be all on Zoom. So I was a part of it. So I jumped on and I learned a lot about social media, when to post, how to post, what to say, what not to say. And then after about a year of doing that, he said, hey, I'm going to launch a mastermind. Yeah. Do you want to be part of the mastermind? I was like, I'm in. And I don't even know how much it was. I'm like, I'm in. I don't care. I had a number in my head. I'm like, okay, this is how much it's going to be. And this is probably 2022-ish,
Okay.
I think. And then I went to his event in Vegas.
Wait, so did he start Forward Academy in 2022?
The Forward Academy, I can't remember the exact
Okay.
date, 2021, 2022-ish, yeah. And he messaged, because I think he did his first Forward event, might have been 2020 or 2021.
Okay.
But he asked me to be part of the Mastermind, but he said you have to join when you go to the Forward event. He's a great promoter. So I go to the Forward event, and I just get a general admission ticket, and they post about, you see all the speakers, really great. You learn about content. During that time, I had already been posting some content, but very sporadic, like maybe 1 or 2 a week, and then I take a break. But I wasn't getting any traction. I had like 800 followers.
This is on what, though? Just Instagram? Or
I was posting, at that time, I was only posting on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
So on Instagram, I had like 800 some odd followers at the time.
And were you sharing to Facebook or posting separately?
Sharing to Facebook too.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I joined the Mastermind, and once I joined the Mastermind, I got connected with all these great people in the industry. I mean, across the nation,
Sure.
realtors, loan officers. I mean, some of these people that are really, I guess, well known in the industry, and these people, I can call them or message them, and they still help me now.
Nice.
But I became part of this group, this Mastermind, for a year, and I just learned a lot about content creating, and I talked to other people, see what they're struggling with and what they need help with. So I'd help them, they'd help me. And I was still, for maybe up until from 2022 to 2024, I would post a couple of times a week, then I'd ghost it. Then a couple of times a week, then I'd ghost it. And I'd get up to maybe I had like 1,000 followers. And then I got to 2,000 followers. I'm like, man, one thing is not just a following, but also you want to grow. You want to grow the following, because then more people are going to see.
Yeah.
So just it's a big net, right? You just want to be able to get a lot of eyes on your content. So in 2024, I just decided, January 2024, I said, you know what? I'm going 100% all in social media. All in. So I'm going to post. So I have a virtual assistant that helps me with my content. We manage all my social media. So now I post on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. It goes on there 6 days a week. This is all my feed. On my stories, I post my own stories. But I went from, this is kind of a crazy story. So I was posting consistently. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be consistent with this. And I got to a point where probably a few months into posting content, I get this guy. He had a huge following, and I'm not going to say who it is. I don't want to give them run, but a huge following. They're a big troll. And they started just ripping on me on the strategy that I had. And the strategy is actually a good strategy. So he started sharing all my posts on his stories.
Sure.
And he was just ripping on me and like say, hey, this guy's an idiot. And then he was messaging me. So I was messaging him back.
And was he taking those and posting
them? Oh, yeah.
them?
And I was backing up the strategy was buy a house, let it gain equity, get an equity line, use the equity line money to purchase another property.
Sure.
I've done that many times.
Logical.
I've helped clients. It works very well.
Yep.
It's helped me build wealth in real estate. It works very well. So it was going back and forth, and I'm like, man, my account's toast. Next thing you know, my phone goes on fire.
Yeah.
And it's just like messages, DMs, and all these follows. And I go from a couple thousand. Within 30 days, I jump up like 20,000 in my follower count, and I get a lot of messages. People ask me questions about loans, about real estate, and it just kept taking off. And ever since then, it's just been going. It's just
what's the lesson that you take from that you can share with others?
Is one is be consistent, because I know there's some people they've been consistent maybe for a year or two, and they're like, hey, my account hasn't really taken off. I'm not really getting any business. Just keep going, and also, you have to just not worry about the trolls. There's always going to be trolls. So one, be consistent and don't worry about the trolls. I get trolls every day still, and I just ignore them. Or sometimes what I'll do, I'll just maybe respond with a smiley face. Yeah. Sometimes it bothers them, but I don't spend time on the trolls. People that ask real questions, or maybe they're challenging what I'm posting, then I'll respond to them. But yeah, just be consistent and don't worry about the trolls, and just go.
I love it.
Just go, because this will help you grow your brand, help you grow your business. I mean, it'll do a bunch of things. Oh yeah,
that's great advice. And by the way, most of those trolls, there's no name, there's no public figure, there's no photo of themselves. Like, they're just anonymous trolls. Period. End of story.
The majority are.
Yeah, for sure. So all right, so. That's really good advice, and I like it. And I like how you talk about how you have to be consistent, and it could take a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
And this is that whole thing of, if you've seen, if you've read Think and Grow Rich, it's, that 3 feet from gold, right? So the story about the miner who's digging. Finally, it's just done. I can't do it anymore. And he actually gives away all his mining equipment, the mine and everything. And the next guy came in. Within 3 feet, he hit the biggest vein ever. Right? I
love that. So I love that book too. It's a great book.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
But it's something that if you markedly can read that book, understand it, get the Audible, whatever it is, and apply just even that one concept, you'll break through you'll be way more successful than 95% of people out there just by not giving up too soon. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's a big lesson. But so with all of that, and with you talking about mortgages and so forth, you also kind of bridged out to kind of local information. When did you do that?
Probably within the past month.
It's that recent?
Yeah, I decided to go because a lot of my content it's educational. It'll just be stuff about VA loans, conventional loans, FHA loans, things that just basic stuff for people that I think should learn. But yeah, I decided to again. I learned this from Neil Dingra, from speakers, and I decided to just go local, and just to be the local expert in my city. I've been here since I was 6 years old.
Yeah,
I know the city very well, and I have conversations.
Well, obviously, you know me. So you know the city,
and I'm involved in I'm involved with different organizations here too. So I think in Simi Valley, I mean, it's we have 125,000 people. And you have to live here to understand Simi Valley. Information goes by real quick. I mean, if you say
especially if you said you're involved in community stuff,
like
if you are involved in that, it's got what did we call it? Because it's been a while since I've been really involved. But what did we call it? The something 200. Do they still call it that? It's like the same 200 people that show up to every event.
Pretty much. Yeah.
There was a term for it, and maybe all cities have this, but it was like the something 200 because it doesn't matter if you're part of Chamber, you're part of Rotary or any of these local groups that are all doing really good, but it's always the same people, right, that are involved.
100%. Okay, it's always the same people, but but
you get all the information from them.
I get all the information from them, and a lot of this information I get, it's this is stuff anyone can find.
Yeah,
it just. I mean, even when I post the mortgage or real estate educational information, this isn't anything that's new. There was a realtor that was messaging me. He's kind of struggling. He said, how do you post information? Like, where do you find this? This is what I'm struggling with. And I said, well, the great thing about our industry that is you could find information about real estate, loans everywhere, and everything that I'm posting isn't anything new. I mean, you can post it. Anyone can post this information. It's just a matter you go in, and At first, I was just thinking, what information would I want to learn about if I was trying to buy a house?
Yep.
So I would just create content on that. And then with the local content, I just wanted to, I think people are really curious of what's going on with our city. Our city it's big, but it's not, everyone is very connected. So I just decided to go all in with the local content. And I'm branching off. I already have other content I'm already creating. I kind of have my content is about 2-3 weeks out.
Okay.
But I'll be branching out, but staying within Ventura County. But yeah, I think a lot of people want to know what's going on locally.
So where are you getting the information about like local construction that's, or things that are going on here that, haven't happened yet? Where are you getting that information?
I'll do Google searches.
Okay.
I'll use Gemini to look up information.
Okay. So it's not like you have a source at the city or you're going to the city council meetings or anything like this.
No, yeah.
You're not part of neighborhood council where you're seeing this stuff right when it comes through before anybody else does. Okay.
Yeah, city website, Acorn, the paper, other papers.
Oh, you read the Acorn?
Well, I read it for content.
I see the Acorn once a week.
Yeah.
When I pick it off my driveway and I put it in the trash barrel.
Pretty much, I do the same thing. But
and by the way, I used to advertise in that thing decades ago, along with some other community papers that aren't around anymore. But
I do the same thing. I just go online. You just get it from there. But I just get all this is all public information.
Yeah.
Even to the point I was posting. It's that video I posted is probably the one your wife forwarded to was about the town center.
It was.
It was about the town center, and that kind of went viral around the community. I mean, it's still going.
Yep.
It's still going, and actually one of the consultants for the developers actually reached out to me.
Okay.
And he wanted to talk to me as in just, hey, have a conversation about what's going on. And I reached back out. I said, yeah, whenever you're free, let's have a conversation. I haven't heard back from him.
Okay.
But I'd like to talk to him.
I like it.
But all the information I'm getting is all information they have provided.
Yeah, of course. I got you. That's
Yeah.
amazing. All right. And so let's shift gears just a moment
Mm-hmm.
and take a sidestep here, because you've mentioned it a couple of times. You love helping veterans,
Mm-hmm.
first responders, and things like that with home loans. How did you wind up really kind of concentrating your energy on those types of loans? Are you a tech investor looking to shape the future of real estate? HomePie is the #1 for sale by owner marketplace, and we are revolutionizing the way homes are bought and sold. I'd love to hear from you. Just email invest@homepie.com and let's chat. Now back to the show.
Yeah, so when I got in 2005, I was kind of like a catch-all. I just everything you do, conventional FHA, that wasn't really going on early on. They've always been around, but I was just trying to do everything. Hey, if you want a loan, I can do it. I'm your guy. But I was always trying to figure out like a niche, and just couldn't really figure it out. Even to the point, I have a business partner. He and I have been working together for many years.
Okay.
So we're a team, and then we're like, you know what? Let's go work at let's start working doing loans in Westlake area. So we got an office over there, and we started doing a lot of high net worth. And it was great. You do a few loans, you do a ton of volume. It was great, but it just wasn't. I wasn't really happy with that. And we were kind of struggling, trying to figure out where we wanted to go. And this is where I really shifted, where I wanted to do my business. And it's not the best story, but now the direction it's going, it's pretty cool. So my best friend, Joshua Collins, local guy here, was killed in action in October 19, 2010. So it's going to be 15 years coming up. It'll be 15 years coming up, and his dad and I are still really close, but he was killed in action. He was a United States Marine Corps explosive ordnance disposal technician, so he's Marine Corps bomb squad, basically.
Yeah.
So he was active for 8 years, reserve for 2 years, and those 2 years he was reserve, he was LAPD police officer. So that's why with vets and also first responders. And after he and I would have many conversations about kind of what we want to do and all that kind of stuff. And after he was killed in action, I just kind of felt, I'm like, you know what? Based off all of our conversations and how close I was to him, like, I want to help military veterans. That's what I want to do, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to help them. So I started volunteering at organizations here in Simi Valley for the troops. I was doing these care packages. I was going on my lunch break and do like 10 boxes at a time. And then little by little, it's tough because I'm a civilian. I'm not a military veteran.
Right.
And I help a lot of military vets, and it takes a little more time because it's that trust to go, you really want to help vets because you're not a vet. It's one of those things and it takes a while. And that's how I really got into helping military vets. That was in 2010, little by little. So started going little by little, helping them as much as I could and donating money to organizations too. And then in around 2021, we decided really to go all in with it. We're like, you know what? We can't just tippy-toe around this. We got to go all in, and we're going to help vets, not just with their loans, but we're going to help them with everything. With their service-connected disability, we're going to get them in contact with the right people, and we're going to do events, and we're going to educate them to help them. And this is stuff that a lot of military vets don't know about, what all the benefits available to them.
Sure, 100%. And there is a little bit of stigma around people that are civilians helping out vets. And I think, honestly, that comes from vet originators, so those that are vets, and they may not even be the best originators, but they happen to be vets. And so they, I want to say as a defense mechanism, try to put down people that are civilians that are helping veterans.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been doing VA loans since I started in the business in 1993. VA, and they didn't even really call them, they were IRRRLs back then, interest rate reduction loans, but we just called them FHA and VA streamlines. We call them both that. All my business was FHA and VA streamlines, and I'm talking about sending out mailers, getting calls, and going out to people's homes and sitting down and doing loan applications.
Yeah.
And I did that for at least the first 4 years of my career. And I didn't even know how well I was doing back then. I was just, I had a mentor. He said, here's what you do. And I did it. And that was it. They gave me a letter and said, here, use this letter, mail merge it, do whatever. And send these out. And I'd go take this big box of letters that my wife and I would stuff. And I signed every letter and brought it to the postmaster for bulk mail. Learned how to do all that, fill out the form and everything, and then the phone would just ring off the hook. Yeah. It would just ring and ring and ring, and I'd take calls, schedule appointments in the evening. Some crazy, crazy stories about going to people's homes that you would not believe. Crazy stuff, but but that's how I did, and nobody ever questioned me back then. But you also didn't have this element of trolls online and so forth. So I'm certain that whatever pushback you get are people that are either anonymous or they're just, you're not fairly judged by that. Your actions about how you help veterans, first responders, and so forth, that should speak volumes about your character and not what other people think about it, about you being a civilian. So I think that was important to say because it does happen a lot. It happens a lot to my people, my loan officers that are not vets, and we do have vets and non-vets. And, they do have that little bit of a challenge sometimes. So kudos for you for doing that. And I think it's great that you've got the nonprofit as well that's helping them in other areas because it is tough to navigate.
It is tough.
And a lot of these guys don't know the benefits that they're afforded, and we owe it to them. Like, they're the ones that put their lives on the line and continue to. So, I find that to be pretty cool. So how did you come up with the name Valor? And tell me about that whole construct. Like, so I noticed you're affiliated with like another company as well.
Yeah.
So tell me about that because I think a lot of people today in the mortgage industry, they jockey around a lot, and when they do that, they lose traction. And it's important that you have alignment with the people you're working with the, your broker, and if that's the case, or so forth. And so people do grow out of their current situations and they go into others. But I think more often than not, they're chasing the shiny penny. And so I think that you may have taken an approach that gives you a little bit more consistency, but still allows you to be mobile. So talk to me about your structure.
Yeah, so the way we're set up, so one, we have a parent company that we're set up with as a DBA, so that's how we're Valor. Because previously we had another company, we had partners, and still helping a lot of military vets, and we all kind of decided everyone wanted to go different directions. Some people wanted to move out of state and do different things, so we when we came up with the name of the Valor, we wanted to get a name that was good, but not just for military veterans, but also civilians too. Well, what's a good name? And it kind of just Valor is a name that popped up, and that was just Valor Home Finance. We're like, hey, that's a great name. I like the name, and we decided to put logos together, and we kind of just put different things together, and we came with the star with the cutout V right there and the logo. So the way.
How long ago was that?
This was a couple of years ago now.
Okay,
about 2 years ago. Yeah, a couple of years ago now, and so that company that we're working. Well, they're the broker of record. We spoke to the owner. He was great, and we asked him a lot of questions, and we were in alignment. So we really liked what he was about. And he's like, no, I'll let you guys run your own show. You do your thing. I'm not going to bug you. This is what you do. And, you guys make sure you guys are obviously compliant, do everything the right way. And, I trust you guys, especially working for a big mortgage lender, a big bank. They're really big on compliance. Yes. So that's one of those things that we're always really mindful, very careful about that. Yep. Yeah. So, we had a great conversation, a few of them, and we were just in alignment. That's why we said, you know what, we want to partner up with you guys, and this is going to be our name. This is how we want to be set up. And we like the setup, the way everything is, and Valor is just is a name that we all agreed on as partners to moving forward. Where I think that kind of brought military vets and also civilians, first responders. That brings everyone together.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. It's a great name. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. And it does create a nice niche for you. Not that you can't do other loans as well, which
we
I'm
do
sure
everything,
you do.
Yeah.
But it's smart to stand out that way. So that's good. All right, let's talk about some of your social content. Is it a smart thing to add funds to your principal on your mortgage when you're making that payment every month?
Yes, it is good. It really, so I'm torn with that. So it's good to add principal to pay down your loan, but I'm bigger on getting that money and reinvesting it somewhere else. I like that better. It really depends where you're investing it, but I would say invest it somewhere else where it can grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. It's been something that's been around for a long time. There's been this, and it's not as prominent today as it used to be, but there used to be this thing where you could sign up and you can make biweekly payments.
Yeah.
And the biweekly payment, because you're paying half your mortgage in the middle of the month, you're saving on the interest on that principal balance for the second 2 weeks of the month, which in turn winds up being like making one full extra payment a year at the beginning of the year. Okay.
Yep.
Alternatively, you can add to your monthly payment every single month and equate that to one extra payment a year as well. And depending on the loan size and how much you're adding to principal balance, you can shave anywhere from, say, 4 years to 11, 12, 13 years off your loan. It just depends on how much you're adding to it. But let's just say, for example, that you refinanced in 2020 or 2021 and you've got a 3 or 4% interest rate. Does it make sense to pay that loan off sooner, or does it make more sense to pay the minimum balance and reinvest that extra money, as you just mentioned, somewhere else?
Yeah.
Can you make more than 3 or 4% on your money? And I think we would say, for the most part, yes, you can do that. You can even just invest in the S&P 500 long term and be invest.
You'll be good.
Yeah, you'd be good. And then you have liquidity. Whereas when you're putting the money into your home, you're losing the ability to touch that equity unless you refinance or you do an equity line, which is a higher rate of interest. So in a case where the rates are really low, probably not a good idea to make your advance payments. But let's say that you got a loan and it was a non-QM loan and it was maybe a DSCR and now you're at 8%. Maybe it makes sense to pay that down a little bit. Maybe it makes sense to do that to set yourself up to have a little bit more equity so you get a better loan to refinance it when rates do come down. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you could do that, and that would be, say, to have more equity when it's time to refinance. Or, it's usually everyone's going to have different scenarios, because what if this person has a non-QM rate or whatever it is, right? Whatever they're set up as. So let's say they have credit card debt and they're paying 24% and they have an $8,000 card balance and they're talking about paying down their mortgage. It has 8% rate, but then they're paying 20, 22, 24% on their credit card. I would say pay down that credit card before paying this off. It's great. I know if that's what you want to do, good, but I would say pay off this credit card, because if you just look at the interest that you've been paying on your credit card, that In-N-Out burger that you bought a month ago, you're still paying interest on that.
That's right.
Let's pay that down, take care of that, then move the money.
So, folks, this is the difference. So I'm glad you answered it that way, Alex. That was a little test.
Yeah.
This is the difference between a home advisor and just a mortgage loan officer.
Right.
A home advisor will take a look at your whole picture. And there are times where even with the 3 or 4% interest rate, you're better off refinancing that debt, taking cash out, consolidating all your other debt, because credit cards are, once again, at an all-time high.
Oh, yeah.
And the interest rates are higher than they've ever been. And so if you have somebody that is a home advisor and takes a look at your whole picture, your whole financial picture, and gives you that kind of advice, you're working with the right person, because they're actually looking out for your best interests. It will sound contrary to what your instincts are when somebody says, no, it's time to get you out of that 3 or 4% interest rate. But let's think about it this way. You've got a 3 or 4% interest rate, and you've been paying that loan down for the last 5 years, and now you've got all this equity, and you've got a ton of debt. Let's just say, for example, you owe $300,000. You're at a 3.5% interest rate, and you've got $75,000 of high interest debt. Rolling that over into a higher rate for all of it probably makes more sense than leaving that first and the second at those separate rates where blended it's higher than the refinance rate. But you got to have somebody who actually looks at the numbers and runs them for you.
You got to look at the numbers, see what the blended rate is, because I know a lot of people that get stuck on it, and I get it. You want to have that 2.5% rate. Totally understand. But then again, everyone's scenario is going to be different. You have to see all that debt that they have. And right now, it's the most credit card debt people have ever had in history.
That's right.
So I mean, you've seen credit reports. There's people that are making great income. I mean, you're like, wow, these, either one person or a couple, they have great income, and they have very little savings. And then you look at their credit card debt. This is almost weekly. We see this.
Yeah.
Like their credit card debt's through the roof. Like, what are they doing? One thing is they weren't taught money management skills.
That's right. Yep.
Money management skills, and it's one of those that say, hey, they don't want to get rid of their 2.5% rate, but then they got $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in credit card debt or personal loan debt, and they're paying 15% on the personal loan, and then they get 20% on the credit card. So, I mean, that's a conversation. Everyone's going to be different, but that, hey, you know what, that 2.5% rate, let's figure out how we can do this, because your overall monthly obligations, if you pay this off, consolidate everything, probably going to end up saving money.
Yeah, and you could be to the tune of thousands of dollars a month. And what you
Mm-hmm.
just said is really important. Financial literacy continues to be the number one problem in society today.
Mm-hmm.
People are not taught anything about their own personal financials in our schooling systems.
Yep.
And so either you've got a family member, parents that really guide you through it, or you're lucky enough to meet a mentor that does, or you are a personal study of this. But most people aren't.
No.
And so they don't know how to manage their debt. And you're, like you're saying, they have all this debt that they're paying so much money on, high interest rate, but they feel good about their 2.5% mortgage, and they're losing money every month. And so, yeah, it's really important to go through that exercise with somebody who really understands a full picture. And when you're interviewing for loan officers, you should be asking the questions about, well, what do you look at my entire financial picture to advise me on what loan product to get? Mm-hmm. And nobody asks that. You know what people ask? What's your interest rate?
What's your interest rate?
What the heck does that mean?
Yeah.
Alex, how do you answer that question? What's your interest rate?
What's your interest rate? I mean, there's so many different scenarios. It's like when they ask me that, I'm like, okay, well, everyone's going to be different. So how much do you owe? What's your credit score? There's so many different things. What type of property is it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different things that factor in that.
But they don't even want to believe you when you say that, because when they've been indoctrinated into asking that question, it's like they believe everybody should just give them that answer.
Yeah, it's immediate satisfaction. That's the thing.
right.
Everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to get the information right away. And if you can't answer it, then
That's
I mean,
right.
You can go to these online companies and talk to them, and they're going to give you the rate that you want. But then you look at the loan estimate, and they're charging $24,000, $25,000.
And if you don't know how to read that, and it gets hidden, you've wasted a lot of money. We see this all the time. And so when somebody does ask me, "What's your interest rate?" I answer very simply. I say, "You know what? I can answer that question if you can answer this question for me.
Mm-hmm.
What's the weather like in the United States?"
That's good.
And they'll be like, "What?" They're confused. I go, "Well, yeah, there's a lot dependent on that. What time of year? What area? What time of day? I mean, there's so many questions you have to ask me before you're going to answer that, right?"
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of questions I have to ask you before I can answer that as well. And if anybody answers that question without asking you those questions, you're working with the wrong person.
Yeah, right? Those are the questions. That question, when you hear it, it's always one of those like, okay, it's we're gonna have the conversation. Let's start educating, see how this really works. And I mean, a good example we're talking about. There's this VA IRRRL we're doing right. I mean, we're doing many of them right now. So great time to take advantage of that. But there's one in particular. They were like, does this make sense for us? I mean, they're saving hundreds of dollars a month, and then they're skipping a payment. So skipping a payment, you're not really skipping it. It's the interest. So, but their payment's going down. I said, hey, with this extra money that you're not going to have to pay in September, this is what you can do. There's a couple of credit cards you have on your credit report. I see. Pay those off.
Yeah.
Well, just maintain you making those payments, but get that mortgage payment that you're going to do, split that, pay off these two credit cards, and now you're saving even more.
That's great.
Now with money you're already spending, it's not a cash out refi, and you're paying off some debt. And they're like, wow, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, it'd be nice to put that money in a savings account, but you guys are just going to spend it, pay off debt.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what's your interest rate on this? So like, I don't know, maybe like 18%. I'm like, there you go. Pay it off.
There you go.
Yeah. So
alternatively, they could go to Vegas and just let it ride.
Yeah, put it on black and double it. Yeah,
let's see.
You could do that too.
But no, that's being a home loan advisor, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, let's talk. I think just because people should know more about, and we've talked about it many times here on the show, but about what an IRRRL is. So a VA, we used to call them just VA Streamline, but IRRRL, interest rate reduction. IRRRL.
Yeah, interest rate reduction refinance loan.
Refinance loan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So an IRRRL, an interest rate reduction refinance loan, is one where is a benefit to somebody who is a veteran, who has a VA loan, who wants to refinance that, and they don't have to have an appraisal done.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
They don't even have to have their credit run. Okay. We just do what's called a VOM, which is making sure their mortgage payment is made on time, right? And there's some nuances to that, even if you're a little late. You don't need to put your income on the application. You don't even need to put your employment on the application. Nothing. So what qualifies you is the fact that you're a veteran and you have a VA loan.
Right.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And so it's a really easy loan to do. And if it's designed right, and there are ways to design it the right way and the wrong way, but the way it's designed right is like you said, which is it could be designed in a way where it feels like you're skipping a monthly payment. I use the word feels like because you are tying the interest for that 30 days into the loan, but you don't have to make a payment, which saves you out of pocket. And then you can even get a little bit money back out of the loan by financing the impound accounts for taxes and insurance, and then getting the refund back from your existing loan post-closing. So if it's designed right, you get that dual benefit, right? Which is not having to make the payment for 1 month and getting a cash back in your account from the existing impound account, okay? And then using that, like you said, to pay off debt and do other things that are going to benefit your. So when you say we're doing a lot of those right now, interest rates are better than they were 7 months ago, 8 months ago, a year, 2 years ago. If you got a loan in the last couple of years and it's a VA loan, you should be thinking about doing an IRRRL today.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, right now they're doing, and this was a no points. You're going in the mid fives right now. And one thing is, has to be a 0.5% rate reduction.
That's right.
So it really depends. A lower loan amount, obviously the savings is going to be less. Higher loan amount, bigger savings. But at least a 0.5% rate reduction. But right now we're seeing 0.75% in rate reduction, and it's a big savings for people right now. But yeah, it's a great loan. I mean, you have, like you say, military veteran, active service, surviving spouse. We've done surviving spouse as well. Yeah. Because they can get the benefit as well. It's great to take advantage of it. And I think it's one of the when it comes to the process. I was on the way over here. I was texting somebody. They're like, it was a couple, and they asked, "So do we have to do an appraisal?" I'm like, no appraisal, no income verification, no inspection, no termite inspection. So they're like, "Wow. So when do you think we get approved?" I'm like, "Well,
you're approved."
I'm like, "You guys are good. Once you guys sign the disclosures, I mean, we'll be able to move forward. We'll have clear to close within 24 hours.
That's
we
right.
have everything.
There's nothing to do.
We stacked the file ready to go.
Yeah.
And it's a great program. And it's one thing is, I know it's one of the things we're talking about, like the stigma of non-veteran, and we really we do everything we can to help the veteran. I mean, there's times where we've even, to make a deal work, we're like, we make nothing. Literally, we make $0. Just to make a deal work. Like, no, this is our mission, is to help military veterans, and this is what we do. We have, I mean, our office is not a regular office. It's a facility. It's like, it's a cool spot. You got to come by sometime.
I'll come by.
Yeah, it's way different than you've ever seen in the office.
I hit a lot of traffic between here and there. He's literally like 5 minutes from me. Yeah.
So, I mean, we do everything we can to help military veterans. So it's, this, especially when anyone's trying to save money, we do whatever we can to,
I love it.
Make it the best situation for them and advise them. That's the biggest thing, advising. It's not just, hey, do this IRRRL, do this refinance, and if they get impound account money, especially if you're in this area and you've bought a house in the last few years, your impound account's going to be a lot of money. Yeah. It's going to be, I mean, you're talking, thousands. Yep. So that money you get back typically 3 to 4 weeks after closing from the previous lender. You get that money, and I advise them, say, hey, with that money, the same thing I just mentioned a little bit ago is either you could do a couple of things. I say either you could put that in your savings account, or you could pay down your principal balance on your loan if you'd like to do that. Or I always let them know, I say, you have these debts right here.
That's where it should be applied.
Pay these off right here.
100%.
Pay these off, pay these down. I say, which is the highest interest rates? Pay those off. Yeah. This is how you're going to position yourself to be better. And now you're saving money. Now it's. I love it. You don't have those credit cards chasing you.
You're doing the right thing. Yeah. So let's talk for a moment about affordability, because you mentioned it's this high cost area here, right? And California has become, in many areas, I won't say it statewide. There's still some areas that are affordable in California, but the popular areas, it become really unaffordable for youth. And where you bought a house with your brother, some people can't even do that, even with two people, right? It's just so much, and being able to make that monthly payment. When you think about the monthly payment requirements today for, let's say, a home that's $850,000. That's just speaking locally here. $850,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, decent, nice neighborhood. That's about where you're at. You come in with a low down payment. I mean, you're talking with tax and insurance, everything. You're upwards of $6,000 a month.
Yeah.
And so, when you think about, and there's tax benefits to that, and that's another thing that your loan officer, if they're really a home loan advisor, they're going to talk to you about the tax benefits. They're not going to, teach you them. They're going to say, talk to your CPA to confirm. But there's tax benefits that do reduce that cost, the real cost of it. But even so, I mean, you think about the first, $75,000 of your income going to your housing expense. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, and this is gross income when they qualify.
And that's gross income.
That's gross income.
That's
too.
right.
Yeah.
So there's there's a lot to be said for other states right now, and I see there's still an exodus going on, regardless of what Newsom says. We are losing more people than we're gaining, and a lot of it is affordability. Some of it is other things, but a lot of it is simply affordability. Moving to places like Tennessee, Texas, Florida. Even some Nevada, we see Colorado, Idaho. I mean, we're seeing an exodus. I mean, which is why we are licensed currently in 32 states, because we're servicing clients that are moving elsewhere. But when you think about that and the affordability index of us versus other states, how do you advise somebody who's looking to be a first time buyer and they just can't make it happen here locally?
I mean, if they can't make it locally, I mean, it really depends. Like I'll ask them questions like, what are your goals? Like, what are you trying to do? Where do you work? One thing is there's other areas a little more affordable, like you mentioned, is you might have to move a little further. I mean, where do you work? Or let's say you have to go to Kern County. I know it's much further, but I know a lot of agents in the Ventura County area are promoting a lot Bakersfield.
That's right,
because it's more affordable. I know I have a property out in Kern, but it's by the river. It's not. Yeah. It's not. A
little more remote.
A little more remote, but I mean, I'll ask them questions like, "What's your goal? What are you trying to do?" And see if they're open to areas like that. But I've had a lot of conversations with people about moving to different states. And there's a lot of people from Simi Valley moving to Idaho, Texas, Florida. I just did a couple transactions in Texas. A good friend of mine, in Florida. He grew up out here, got a job in Florida. He said, "I'm out, going to Florida."
Yep.
All his family's here, but he's out just more affordable. But yeah, I asked them, what their goals are, I help them put a plan together.
If they have a job where they're mobile, where they can work from somewhere else.
Or maybe ask them, hey, is there somebody you could buy a house with?
Yeah.
I've been seeing more of, it's boyfriend, girlfriend wanting to buy a house together. And
Partnering
I always ask you partner up buying the house, hey, but also have the conversations like, hey, just want to make sure, this is a legal transaction. Like you guys are going to be on title legally. Both of you guys own it 50-50 or however you decide.
Go into it like your friends.
Yeah.
Drop an agreement like your enemies.
There you go.
That's how you avoid problems in the future.
It's asking those right questions. I mean, again, everyone's going to be different, but see what their goals are.
Yeah.
But it's much more expensive. I mean, I think about how if I was 23 trying to buy a house right now, how would I do it? When I think about it, it'd probably be a lot more challenging. If I was trying to do it now, I would have to get someone else to help us co-sign on the loan. To have 3 borrowers in the loan, have your non-occupant borrower. I mean, I don't know.
That's right.
I mean, there'd be different things we'd have to do. I mean, I don't really focus on this, but I know people do down payment assistance programs. That is not something that
we do a lot of those.
I know people ask us about that, and I let them know. I just say, hey, I know loans very well, but this isn't something I do. Talk to somebody that really focuses on this. I can probably help you better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that has become very popular, and they're different in every state. And there's great DPA programs, down payment assistance, and there's some that are not that great, and there's some that are forgivable, where after a certain period of time you don't owe it back. And that is a way to help bridge that gap, depending on your situation. If you've got the monthly income, but you don't have the savings and that type of thing.
Yeah.
We talk about house hacking here all the time, and one of those things is partnering up, right?
Yeah.
Or renting out rooms, things of that nature to help make the payments. Let's talk about one thing that we've not talked about on this show yet, and that is when somebody buys a home, they get surprised over some period of time. It just depends on the county and how quick or how slow they are, but at some period of time, they get a little bill in the mail that they get shocked by, because they weren't expecting it. What is that
tax
bill? Yep, the supplemental tax bill.
Yeah.
Nobody explains to them,
Yeah.
this is coming. Their real estate agent doesn't say it. The escrow officer doesn't say it. And 9 out of 10 loan officers don't warn them about it. And they get it. And then who's the first person they call?
They call their loan officer.
That's right.
I've had this conversation. This is probably, this is one of the most common conversations or questions that I have with people. So anytime I do a transaction, refinance, purchase, whatever it is, I always go over the estimated closing statement right before, either the day before or right when they're going to sign. I review it line by line. Because the loan estimate, then you have the closing disclosure. It has all the fees in there, but the estimated closing statement is a lot easier to read for everybody.
That's right. By the way, that's what it used to be.
Yeah. So
then they made it really confusing because they're trying to help the consumer.
Right. That's why I just go through there line by line, explain what the fee is, the debit, credit, explain all that. Right. Then I get to the taxes. I let them know. I say, you're going to say, by the way, in a few months, I'm going to let you know you're going to get a supplemental tax bill. I don't know the exact amount, but I'm going to tell you you're going to get a tax bill. And I kind of give them a range approximately, and I say, you're going to get this in a few months. So when you get it, I'm going to let you know this is not what you have impounded. This is separate. If you don't pay this, you're going to get another letter saying that you have to pay this. Then it gets sent to your servicer. Your servicer is going to let you know, hey, do you want to pay this full amount? If not, we're going to allocate it over these next 12 months, and your payment's going to be going up, who knows, a couple $100s a month. That's a lot. So I let them know at signing and say, you're going to get this, so make sure, giving you heads up, call me right away.
Yeah. And that's the thing that people do if they're not educated about this. They think, well, no, I pay this with my monthly payment. It should be covered. But here's what a supplemental tax bill is. At the time that you close your purchase, all the calculations are done off of the seller's tax basis. And it depends what state you're in, and every state's handled a little differently. But let's just use California for an example. Let's say that your seller bought the home a decade or two ago for a lot less than you're buying it for, and their taxes were way lower than you're paying on your new purchase price because it's redone based on your purchase price. The difference between the two for that prorated period of time, from the time that your seller paid their bill to the time that it closed, and the time you're taking it over to the time your next bill is due, that's what you're paying, is that supplemental tax. In escrow, you're getting a credit from the seller for their period. It's on the closing statement. You'll see a credit, but you don't pay attention to it when you're closing. But when your loan officer points it out to you, you'll see like, no, the seller paid their portion. This is your portion. You were supposed to have that money available to make this payment. And so if they're not educated on this, and they get upset and so forth. So by educating them at closing, it really does help. And, that surprise, for the most part, if they're not educated on it, they get very upset, and it could cause you from losing them as a customer for life.
Oh, yeah, because they think that, hey, I impounded this. What is this? I didn't know about this. And I've had where people, they get the supplemental tax. When I let them know, but then they're not, maybe financially they qualify, they're good, but that extra, $1,000, $1,800, they didn't plan for it, and it could put them in a bad spot. But this is something that's, I was just looking at an estimate, and just right there you see it on the right side credit. They're like, oh, the seller's giving me a credit. Like, no, it's
the corporations.
It's the proration right here. Yeah. So
that's good. All right. Well, I just gave you some content for a post. You tagged me in.
That's a good one.
Okay. All right. So last thing I want to talk about is fitness. You rolled in here. You look like you're in real good shape, right?
Decent.
So tell me about your fitness journey.
I've always played sports growing up, and I'll go to the gym. I was kind of sporadic here and there, after sports. But a couple of years ago, I started really focusing more, and I go to the gym at 5 a.m. I go to Crunch right here across the street.
Okay.
And I go 5 a.m. I try to go 4 or 5 days a week. And I also, my daughter, she'll be 15 in a couple of weeks, and she runs track. Oh. So Mondays and Wednesdays, so I do double days. We go to the Moore Park College, and we run the stairs, and we run track.
That's great.
So whatever I tell her, whatever's going to kill you is going to kill me too, so I run with her.
It'll kill you first.
Oh, yeah. My mind thinks I can run a lot faster, but when I'm trying to keep up with her now, I can't. My legs won't do it.
Yeah.
My legs won't do it. But, yeah, I work out. I know I could tell you work out too, so.
You keep talking to me like that, you're going to have to buy me dinner.
I go to the gym in the morning, and I really focus on just kind of my health. I'm I'm not really trying to get, big and yoked.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to stay
You're not
fit.
competing, but you
I'm
look really
competing.
fit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just try to stay fit, to stay healthy, because I'm 44 years old. I still feel a lot younger.
Yeah.
But I have to be realistic with with certain things. I got to stay healthy. My dad is he's 72, and he's always been going to the gym since. He was a cyclist for years growing up. He'd ride 30, 40 miles in the morning before he'd take us to school. And he moves. He tells me, he's like, I feel like I'm in my 40s.
That's great.
And it's one of those things because he was always in fitness, always cycling, always in the gym. So goes today. And I think that's what, that helps you. It gives you energy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If I don't go to the gym, it really messes up my whole day. And it's kind of crazy. And you could probably agree with me on this one is when you work out so hard and you have a tough workout, you're sweating, you're like, man, my legs are toast, my arms, my chest, everything, I'm done. But you take your shower, get ready, and you just have a ton more energy.
You feel accomplished.
You're like, I'm ready to go. I could take on the day, and you just burned all these calories and all this energy, but now you have whatever it does, it's just those endorphins that just get you going for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that's great. It's super important, especially in the phase of life that you're in where your kids are, you have a 15-year-old and
a 12-year-old.
And a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
That's the period of time, and even when they're younger, where you get so caught up in things and the kids' events and all the other, and work and everything else, and you wind up sacrificing your health.
Yeah.
And I feel like, now is very similar to what it was in the early 80s and mid 80s, where fitness is really taking the forefront. You see it in the social feeds and all that sort of thing, but there's a lot more attention being paid to fitness, and it's really good. I think for all that we're lacking in the financial education, we're gaining a lot in the physical education.
Fitness is like, this younger generation, they're really into fitness.
They are.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, definitely.
Going at 5 a.m. to crunch like you're going helps you to avoid the group of 5 kids that are sitting there on their phone
I heard
just
about that.
camping
I've heard
on
about that.
every that's the one thing about the gym culture that is just drives me bananas. When I was growing up and I was hitting the gym all the time in the 80s and in the 90s, we were there to work out. You'd go there, you'd work out. If you had a machine you wanted to use and somebody was on it, you go up, you say, hey, can I work in? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that nobody even knows what that is today. Can I work? What? They look at you and they're like, what the fuck? And they're like, no, you're not touching the machine while I'm touching. They want to wipe it down and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So you go, can I work in? And then the other guy would be there and he'd help you. He'd push you to do the next 3 three reps of that set. And you guys become little workout partners while you're on this machine. How many sets you got left?
Mm-hmm.
How many? Great. I got 2. You mind if I work in? Great. Boom. And you're helping each other, and they move on to the next machine. I would love that culture to be back. In fact, I've thought a lot about starting a gym where it's old school culture like that.
That's how
we
I
just need
taught.
it back.
That's how I learned. Going to high school over here, and our coach taught us like the gym etiquette, right?
Yeah.
And put your weights away, clean up, let someone
Put
work
your
in with
weights
you.
away.
Oh yeah, put your weights. That's crazy. That's one of the hardest things for people to do right now. But yeah, the gym etiquette and working in with people. And one of those things is, you can go to now at the gym when I go, if I'm late, the guys are like already on me. They're messaging me, oh, you slept in, huh?
That's great.
But the gym culture is great, and just the whole working in when you don't have to know somebody. And you say, hey, can I work in with you? And they let you work in, and all of a sudden, like you want to create a great relationship with somebody. Bust your butt, work out hard, sweat.
It pushes you.
You build that respect. Yep. You're like, I like that guy.
Yeah.
And you build a relationship with people that way.
Yeah.
Working in, that's one thing when I go. I like going in the morning because I want to go home after work and be with my family. But so I kind of figured though, how do I do that? You can't get more. You can't get more than 24 hours in a day.
Yep. But
you can just wake up earlier. This is who I met through Neil Dingra, through the Mastermind group, and I was asking people different, from content, from fitness to there was somebody, a loan officer, very successful, he's in San Diego, and I asked him, what time do you wake up in the morning? He's like, I wake up at 3:30. I was like, whoa,
dang,
okay. So what do you do? And he told me what he does. All right, the routine, great. And then, but what I thought was more important, I was like, okay, so what time do you go to bed? I want to know your routine before you go to bed.
Right.
Because waking up early, I can figure that out, but what time do you go to bed? So he told me his routine. So starts getting ready at 8, 8:30, sleep 9, right? Wakes up at 3:30. So now I wake up at 3:45. It took me a while to get there, so this way I wake up at 3:45. I take my time. I get ready for the gym, and I'll go to emails. I'll get ready for the gym, clear my mind. I basically have like 30 minutes of nothing. So I do nothing. I sit down, do nothing, think about nothing, just to clear my head. Then I'll go into like my emails, clear emails out, send emails out. Any content that I have to get approved through my VA, I go through there and approve it, or ask for any type of edits. And then I'll go to the gym, be there at 5. And already by that time, I've already done probably there's so much I've already done for myself and for work.
Yeah.
So when I go to the gym, I'm not thinking of anything. I'm just thinking of working out.
Yep.
That's it.
I love
Nothing else. And yeah, it feels, I think this is, I think one thing is setting an example for your children. And, my kids see me, they see me bust my butt, they see me work, and, you don't have to tell them to go work out.
Yep.
My daughter is she's on it. She works, she goes to the gym 2 days a week. She runs 2 days a week, and I go with her. My son, we have a home gym too. My son will work out too. He has his weights in his room. He doesn't like to tell me, but I know he's doing some curls. He's doing some stuff. He's getting to that age. But I think that's one of the biggest things of not, especially if you have young children, is even older. I mean, my dad's in his 70s, and I see him still working out. That pushes me. I'm like, he's going to do it. I'm going to do it.
For sure.
Right? So I think that's one of the things with the whole journey with fitness is don't just think about yourself. Think about what it does for other people.
That's right.
And how it's going to inspire and motivate them.
100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I work out with my son as much as I possibly can. And he's 29. And Micah, I can't really keep up with him anymore, can I? Damn it. Anyway, also it didn't help. I had surgery 6 weeks ago. I tore my bicep.
Ow.
That didn't help at all. Yeah.
Ouch.
That's a whole other story. But
I've heard stories about that.
I didn't do it working
scary.
out either.
Yeah.
So maybe one day I'll publish that video. It looks stupid. Anyway, I fell. So, Alex, all right, man. Great chatting with you today. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, if they want to reach out to you, how do they do that?
My Instagram, it's LexLender805.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been great. All right, guys. That's another wrap for The Blueprint. Thanks for joining me today. If you liked what you heard, if you like what you saw, please follow, subscribe, share. All of that helps. And we'll be back with some more information. We got a special edition coming up very soon. It's not going to be a full pod run, but we're going to show you some clips. You got to stay tuned for it, though. It's going to be very special. We'll see you next time on The Blueprint.